It is day 16, 9:48 a.m. in the Big Brother UK All-Stars house. And I have redecorated the house just a little bit to match the green versus blue team task a little bit more. And with everyone only having access to the living room and the kitchen, with the green team winning access yesterday to the garden, everyone has pretty much spent an all-nighter where they're only able to really take naps in the living room, but with everyone shoved in one room, you're constantly waking up. So everyone now is just still all cultivated in the living room, mostly all talking, and most of them have gotten pretty tired. Some of them have managed to get a little bit of sleep though, but it's definitely been a week where they're all going to get a little bit closer to one another. At 11:51 a.m., Big Brother goes ahead and calls everyone into the living room and sit down as we're going to take part in a second part of today's task. Now, yesterday, everyone was split into two teams, the blue team or the green team, and they were all set a task to run on a treadmill, resulting in Craig winning immunity and the green team winning access to the garden. However, there is no immunity up for grabs today, but there is a brand new room up for grabs, that room being the bedroom, which is pretty important as all of you have spent all night awake and shoved into this little living room for any comfort. Now you will have all access to the bedroom by yourself and able to sleep and be fully rested for the next day's challenge. So everyone go ahead and head back towards the task room as we start today's task. I love how they all have to casually walk by Aaron as he's just on the computer in room 101. Just a little spooky ghost in room 101, you know, casual, part of the decoration. But anyway, in the task room, we have 9 chessboards set up for 9 pairs of you to compete against one another. Of course, it'll be 1 blue member versus 1 green member. And whichever team wins the most chess matches will win access to the bedroom, and they will also win 5 big bucks added to their inquiry. All right, so everyone is able to go ahead and start once everyone is seated. So let's go ahead and wait for Nadia and Victor and Courtney. All right, everyone can now begin. Of course, we did have to have a couple of you fashionably late, but that's everyday life in Sim World, of course. Now, I tried to match everyone pretty fairly and kind of randomly. It was just kind of whoever was closest to my line down at the bottom of selecting which Sim I was controlling next, honestly. But I kind of just tried to have them fairly. We see Gary is against Victor, Rylan is against Gemma, Nadia is against Brian, and then we have Craig against Cameron, Pete against Courtney, Charley against Hellen. I just tried to put the most random matches and what I think would be almost fair matches together without really diving into everyone's skill points and stuff like that, though. We see right now we're looking at Cameron and Craig's match, and Craig is actually feeling a bit under the weather. I don't know if this winter plus the stress of this challenge is making him feel a bit sick or what it is, but we do have a lot of Sims feeling under the weather, catching random rashes and diseases, and I've been constantly trying to keep that at bay, but it has been a challenge, and with 18 house guests in your house, it's very easy to spread stuff around. That's why I have to give kudos to all the Big Brother shows that have still been going on during COVID with all the COVID protocols and stuff like that, because I'm sure it has to be a nightmare if COVID does get into the place. It could just so, any kind of disease could so easily spread in these really close-knit quarters. We have a few of them already wrapping up the game. Almost everyone is finished now, apart from Charley and Hellen. However, Charley is kind of glitched out and just having her turn over and over and over again. The board will reset as if they're finished, and then Charley just keeps on playing. She doesn't want to give up. She doesn't want to take Hellen for another turn. She doesn't want to do any of that. So instead, both of them are ended up being null and void from the competition. They're both taken out, and neither of them are going to win. However, you see that Courtney won her challenge for the blue. We have Gemma winning her challenge for the green, Victor winning his for the green, and quite a few of them have won. Everyone standing has won. But with a score of 5-3, the blue team has won today's challenge, giving them all an extra $5 to their total score and also access to the bedroom. So everyone is going to go ahead and rush out the door of the task room and head back into the house. So far, when it comes to blue versus green, they are both at an even score, with green having access to the garden, but now blue has access to the bedroom. Both having their perks. However, I have to say personally, the bedroom is really needed, as none of them have been able to actually sleep fully, and this is going to give them, much needed rest. However, no one still has access to the bathroom, unfortunately. So for some of the blue team members, this is just going to be another room that they can go and pee in. Honestly, they're just going to go and pee someone else's bed. Hopefully not their own bed. Hopefully another house guest bed they're going to climb into and take a piss. We see that the blue team has automatically gone into the bedroom, and it has gotten a full-on makeover with blue beds, blue lights, and all that jazz. Meanwhile, outdoors, I have changed all the lights and stuff outside to green to support the team spirit. Meanwhile, Davina goes and bonds a little bit more with our chickens. At 3:33 p.m., Gemma Collins is cleaning up after the chickens. I just am obsessed with them. So if you get a lot of chicken shots, if you get a lot of chicken footage, my bad, but I love them, and they're such like a great Big Brother UK installment that I honestly think should have been part of every season. Outside, we see that the green team is just kind of hanging out by the hot tub. Only Makosi's in it for right now. Meanwhile, inside the living room, we have New York, Rylan, and Pete having a little conversation. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, we have Davina putting on a little bit of a show in the storage room, acting a bit of a goofball, and everyone seems to be really enjoying it. Gary's even doing some push-ups in there as well, and Brian even hears all the laughter from outside and has to come in and hear what all of it's about, and Davina's just putting on a really fun show. I honestly think that this looks like an action Davina would do, like those weird duck movements. I'm like, yeah, that seems like her. Of course, Courtney ends up taking out the wet laundry, and instead of putting it in the empty, totally fine dryer, she plops it on the ground and then complains about it. So, love that. Meanwhile, outside, Makosi has gone out of the hot tub, and Pete and Isabelle have slithered on in. Isabelle's put a little face mask on and is soaking it up. Meanwhile, Nadia actually has a face mask on herself as well. She kind of looks a bit creepy. It looks like her skin is like peeling off. Looks a bit scary. But they're all having a conversation with Hellen. Victor and Craig hasn't moved. He's just been sitting there observing everything. And I really do feel like he is like the team leader of this team. Not only because he won the first challenge, but I mean, he just seems like the dad of the group. And I feel like if I view him as the team captain, I'm sure if like everyone else on his team probably does too. New York hasn't moved as well. Instead, her and Davina are having a little sit-down conversation in the living room and seem to really be bonding. I think Davina is really setting herself up pretty good here. She's making everyone laugh, putting on a bit of a show, but also having time to sit down and have one-on-ones with everyone and really get to know them. And I think everyone thinks Davina is a friend of theirs. Unlike Charley, I don't think anyone thinks they're a friend of Charley. And honestly, Nikki recently hasn't been the most pleasant to be around either. It's 6:18 p.m. right now in the house, and everyone is sort of slowly gathering in the kitchen as dinner time is coming. Everyone's feeling a little bit hungry. However, without the ministries installed this week, no one is properly assigned to cook anything. So as we see, Craig just kind of grabs his own single serving, but no one's really cooking dinner. But it's almost like everyone expects someone to do it. They're all just kind of standing around, waiting awkwardly, looking at the empty dining room table, complaining about being hungry, but no one's really stepping up to the plate and actually cooking anything for everyone. At the bar, we see that Nikki and Rylan are having a conversation, and Nikki actually looks pleasant and to be enjoying the conversation for once. However, Craig does not. Maybe the whole team captain stress is getting to him. Hellen finally cooks up some hamburgers outside. I can always count on the Sims on using the grill for no reason at all. So that helps with the food situation a little bit. Nadia hasn't moved, and neither has Pete or Isabelle. They've both just been soaking up in the hot tub, getting to know each other. Surprisingly, it hasn't turned flirty or romantic at all. They're just having a really nice, friendly conversation. The chickens are just stroming around before they have to head inside and go to sleep. In real life, I don't like chickens at all. I don't find them cute. I don't really like birds in general. But these chickens are everything to me. New York is still in her spot in the living room. She's been there all day and just slowly kind of pulling people to her and having little conversations. She's now moved on to having a conversation with Charley. However, leave it up to Charley to have it not be a pleasant conversation and for New York to get annoyed. Makosi finally gets back into the hot tub. This is like her rightful home since I've installed that. She's always in it all the time. Almost all of the green team is outside, and due to the garden being unlocked and the bedroom, it really has fully segregated the two teams almost. They're almost always just with their own team and not really intermingling, which I kind of like when it comes to how the relationships are going to grow. At 9:53 p.m., unfortunately for the house guest, as soon as they all end up going into the kitchen and actually deciding to just suck it up and cook a meal for everyone, the oven breaks. So they're all pretty upset, especially Courtney, Cameron, and Rylan. The three gays all circle around the oven trying to fix it. Eventually, Rylan actually does pop that thing open and start screwing into the air, because that's exactly how you fix an oven. Meanwhile, at the bar, we have Emma, Hellen, Brian, and Nikki. And I gotta say, I love how the green and blue lights really change the atmosphere in the house. Meanwhile, in the storage room, we have Davina and Gary Busey having a eye staring contest. Well, I guess if it's a staring contest, it's already an eye staring contest. I can't explain to you how much I actually end up cutting out and redoing in these videos, because I don't script any of this and I'm just talking directly out of my hole. So sometimes it's a mess, especially since I work most days, and I kind of feel a little bit crazy, like these house guests are probably feeling crazy. I think Big Brother especially needs to come back because everyone sort of relates to it a little bit more. Everyone's been in isolation, everyone kind of knows what it feels like to be cut out from the outside world, and I think it's almost easier for house guests nowadays to go into it as well. So I don't know. I find it interesting, and I find the house guest, not only because I know them already with them being all-stars, but I always kind of feel closer to them now since COVID. Everything has been going relatively smoothly for all of the house guests. A lot of them peed themselves last night and haven't really come up again with that issue again today until now. Unfortunately for Isabelle, she is the first one of the night to pee herself directly in the kitchen, almost the same exact spot that Gary did it. And now it kind of explains all the weird, mysterious stains that are all over the floor around the house. Like, they've just been pee puddles that have been left there. Unfortunately for Craig, he has also peed himself in the living room, and I just have a feeling that this is going to cause a chain reaction of house guests peeing themselves around the house. And it seems as though Nikki is pretty upset about it. She's pretty grossed out by the whole thing, and she's just trying to enjoy a cocktail, and she can't. Meanwhile, Brian and Hellen immediately clean it up, while Isabelle's solution to the smell is, of course, just slapping on a face mask and wearing the dirty pee-stained clothes, because the face mask is just going to automatically fix that.
Yeah. You know what? I think the best way to win to end a war is to have women fight naked. Forget about technology. Forget about bombs. Forget about everything that blows up people. Just have women fight naked.
Unfortunately for Emma and Hellen, they might both have to fight naked, as they've also peed themselves in the kitchen. Now their clothes are filthy, and it looks as though Nadia, from the way she's walking back there, is pretty close to joining them. I'm pretty sure soon all the girls are going to be in the same smelly position. I hate that it's also like brown stains instead of yellow. That makes it all a lot more questionable. At 11:37 p.m., Victor is the first of the green team to fall asleep. Sadly, it's outside, while the blue team makes their way into the nice bedroom where they are able to sleep for the night. However, for most of them, like Emma and now Charley joins the club of getting to go to bed completely covered in your own piss and soiled. Courtney, however, is clean and is sleeping in the room. But yep, unfortunately, I think all the girls have done that now. Thankfully for the house guest, tomorrow they will all be competing for the bathroom, and one team will finally have access to the toilets. And maybe they'll be so grateful about it and so happy to have toilets that they won't continue to prank them and break them on their own without them just breaking due to repairs. It looks as though Isabelle has fallen asleep, and now Davina has as well. Both of them are pretty stinky, and Nadia seems to be catching a little bit of a fever, sadly. All of them are getting sick. I don't know if it's just because of the winter. I know it's mods, obviously, but whew, this is a contagious house. I feel like instead of playing Big Brother, I'm playing COVID 101 or, COVID simulator or something. Finally, almost all of the blue team heads to bed. Big Brother goes ahead and turns off the lights for them, while there's still puddles of pee all over the bedroom. And outside we see that Victor has woken up a little bit, but just this time he's been able to take over the whole couch. Meanwhile, Pete sleeps on a hard wooden bench, and the girls all sleep in the living room, while Craig is the last one up, using all of his energy to do really stinky sit-ups. Currently, 9 people are on the block. Now that will change, but the one thing that won't change is one of them is going to go home this Friday, and it is up to you to save your favorite. So from the blue team, do you want to save Nikki, Rylan, Gary, Charley, or Cameron? Or from the green team, do you want to save Pete, Nadia, Victor, or Makosi? Comment down below. You can vote for however many contestants that you want to, however many times. Like, share, subscribe. There's even a poll over on my Twitter. All of that's linked down below, as also with all of the BigBuck's inquiries. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.